Hello, everybody. I'm George from Ireland. Well, this is a video to say that Andy Burnham will not become leader of the Labour Party, certainly not in this Parliament. So you look at the situation. The other chap standing down from that seat, very close to Manchester, Andy Burnham, is a three-term mayor of Manchester. He's made little secret of his ambition to become leader of the Labour Party and indeed Prime Minister. Now, he has previous. In 2010, just after Labour lost the election, Gordon Brown resigned as PM, leader of the Labour Party. There was a leadership contest. Andy Burnham contested that. Remember being a cabinet minister under Gordon Brown. And he was eliminated quite early on. You remember in those days, Labour had a system, there's some sort of electoral college of the MPs, the trades union activists, and I can't remember the affiliated organisations, slimming it down to two candidates. The two candidates went to the mass membership. And it was the Miliband brothers, David Miliband, Ed Miliband, and Ed Miliband won by a wafer-thin margin, the narrowest margin ever, defeating his own brother. And David Miliband's out of politics, doing something in New York. Anyway, so Ed Miliband's still, cabinet minister, minister for net zero, and talked about as someone who could take over, despite him having failed before, and not being particularly young, not being from the sort of minority background that Labour wants to promote. So Burnham stood then. Burnham stood again in 2015. And remember, he was the runner-up to Jeremy Corbyn. Now, Jeremy Corbyn won by a country mile, 59% of the vote to 19% of the vote. Remember, Ed Miliband had changed the rules to give every member of the Labour Party a vote of equal value. There is no system of slimming it down with the parliamentary party. The disadvantage with that is they had someone who's very popular amongst grassroots Labour Party members, but the parliamentary party couldn't work with. And that was Comrade Corbyn. So Andy Burnham, he then chose to step down as Member of Parliament, become elected Mayor of Manchester. He represented Lee, a seat just outside Manchester. He's actually a Scouser. Anyway, that suited Corbyn just fine because a major potential rival was out of the way. And Andy Burnham had served as shadow cabinet for a while as shadow Home Secretary. So now he's trying to come back in. He's, 3 times as Mayor of Manchester. Would he win a fourth election? Would that be pushing his luck, considering Labour's popularity is down across the United Kingdom? Even if he hasn't messed up as mayor, the party generally is less popular. People just want to protest, send a message to Westminster by voting against Labour. I mean, I think Burnham would win if he stood for a fourth term, but it's difficult to say. He's a couple of years out. I remember he vowed to complete his third term. So, but if he doesn't, it's sort of now or never, because he thinks there might become an opportunity after the 7th of May, local elections, Holyrood elections in North Britain, Senedd elections in Mid Britain. And if he's not an MP, he can't enter the contest. Somebody else will get it. Ed Miliband, David Lammy, even Lucy Powell. I think that less likely. Yvette Cooper, I think it's less likely. Wes Streeting. Those are the only ones I consider, or even Angela Rayner, actually. Those are about the 5 I consider have a serious chance. The other one is Sadiq Khan. Is he going to get back in Parliament? But doesn't seem likely. But so Burnham, is he going to stand? Okay, then he needs permission from the National Executive Committee, which is, so the chance he gets through that is in about 50%. Okay, so suppose he's got 50% chance he gets through the National Executive Committee and Labour doesn't impose an all-women shortlist. That would be an easy way to block him. And he's all gone about, we need more women in politics. How can you argue against that one? A minority of Labour MPs are women, about 45%, their highest ever. And the Liberal Democrats, a majority of the MPs elected in 2009 women. The SNP, I think not, but in the Scottish Parliament, they had most of their members of the Scottish Parliament women, the Scottish National Party. So they could do that, and he could try and claim he's a trans woman. I don't think that would wash even with the Labour Party. So the chance he gets through this is about 25%, as in NEC and not an all-women shortlist. Okay, and then if he tries to contest the nomination, the chance he actually gets the nomination, it's not a done deal. I say maybe 20%. Yes, he's very popular, he's a big beast, but there could be other reasons. Is there anything he's done wrong? Do they want a younger person, an ethnic minority person, or whatever, someone who's more local to Lee? So let's say it's a 20% chance that he's the Labour candidate for not for Lee, for that other constituency. And what's the chance that Labour wins? And that's not a foregone conclusion like it would have been a couple of years ago. I say that only about 15% of the end chance that he gets through all those things, that he is not blocked by the NEC, he's not blocked by an all-women shortlist, and that he wins the nomination and that he wins the by-election. So only about 15% chance, and that he becomes elected leader of the Labour Party, probably about 5% chance out of all. There are other serious candidates. Labour really doesn't want an early mayoral election in Manchester, letting people in Manchester down. He promised he'd serve a full term. He'd be breaking that promise, and it cost a lot of money. And Labour might lose that. I don't think they'd lose it, but there's a serious chance. Well, there wasn't a serious chance before. You know, Labour got 63% under Burnham. What would they get now? They'd be lucky to get 50%. Probably still the biggest party, but they'd rather not take that risk. What a humiliation to lose the mayoralty in the third biggest city in the United Kingdom. You know, and Reform UK, that would be really big for them if they win. If Reform UK didn't even win, if they came close, that'd be a wonderful advertisement for them in Northwest England, an area they're not that strong. They're stronger on the East Coast. And people would say, you know, even if you're in there, Starmer, he might exceed expectations in the May elections. You know, there's 3.5 months to go. A lot could happen, and so on. But anyway, even if he's an MP this Parliament, okay, it might come up towards the end of the Parliament, 2028, 2029. Right. Thanks for watching my channel. What do you think? Would it seem like too much of a stitch up if they did this? Possibly. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, PayPal, georgecannon79@gmail.com. Goodbye.